Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? And I am finally back with a really cool model kit from the good folks from Kotobukiya. That's right, I'm digging into that old nostalgia box once again to pull out another mech design that was strongly relevant in my young adult life, but still relevant today. And hopefully this series will have a nice resurgence coming in the next years to come. And that's none other than the 1/100 scale HBV502H8, codename Raiden, from the popular mech franchise from Sega, Virtuon Ototoro Tangram. And without further ado,
Get ready.
So before we open up this box, let's take a step back and really appreciate the work that went into this box art. They immediately give you an introduction on what you can do for a color scheme, as well as introduction on weapon accessories that come with it. A brief summary on where the game originated, which was the Virtual On series, and oh my freaking god, I love that mini Dreamcast. But enough about that, let's take a look what's inside. So right off the bat, when you open up the box, you are immediately introduced to the instruction manual that gives you a pamphlet in case you lose the pieces. I haven't had that happen to me yet, but it's good to have the instructions for that, as well as a brief summary on where you can add the additional weapon accessories and a color summary on where you want to do custom painting. The kit also comes with a good assortment of clear parts, which is going to be extremely crucial for the LED lights, as well as a small batch of decals, which is great. But to make these LED lights possible, we're going to need a AAA battery power supply to illuminate the breathing mini LED lights. And that's going to create that nice illuminating and dimming effect like you would see in the video game, as well as a mini chip light that's going to be used to power the LED light for the Dreamcast, which I absolutely love! So, to give you a brief example on what I'm going to be basically doing for the whole entire kit, but this area particularly, I'm installing a micro LED light for the camera mount, as well as a breathing LED light for the visor. And if the wiring's done correctly, you get this really cool effect. I know it's not 100% accurate to the video game because the two separate visors have different illuminating periods, but I figured one light's enough to get the job done. So before we get started doing any kind of custom LED lighting, we have to make sure that the color balance is correct to the box art. Now the red that supplies you with the kit, it's good, but I feel that the red needs to be a little bit more brighter. So I'm going to be using the Tamiya TS86 Brilliant Red to create that nice Ferrari look. But before we do any kind of custom painting, we need to paint the areas in frame black. The areas that pretty much are going to be housed in LED lights. Because if there's nothing there, it's going to create a ghosting effect through the plastic. So the more that we minimize it with that coat and then applying the color on top of that, we're going to get something nice and sharp and clean. this part might look a little intimidating, so I'll do my best to explain my process on what I'm doing. So, for the silver pieces, I want them to look a little bit more illuminating. So, black primer is the excellent choice to go. It makes it a little bit darker, while it makes it super reflective. As for the inner frame pieces, which is the movable joints in the arms, I want them to be a little bit lighter, but at the same time, darker. So any dark crevices that are actually tucked in really tight into the detail of the inner frame will start to pop out. And that goes double for the actual silver pieces as well. So here's a good example. It looks good. All the little dark crevices, areas are popping out. Things that are forward are popping out even more forward. But there's times where the spray can can't get all of those details. So if that ever happens, always have a small supply of the actual paint handy, because that can be super useful in a pinch. Well, dudes and dudettes, we have finally reached the end of this video, and I can honestly tell you right now, this kit was a treat. Now, the reason why I say that and the reason why I'm building this kit for you guys to see is because two things. Number one, there was already a gentleman, I forget the YouTuber, I'll list his link down below, that already made this kit like, I think 10 years ago. And he had such a unique, sophisticated system on how he installed the LED lights, which everyone wanted to know how to do it, but the technology wasn't really quite there yet, so that's a shame. Another reason why this kit holds another special part in my heart is because in middle school I didn't have a lot of friends. I had like maybe one or two. And one Halloween day, one of my friends was like, hey, let's have a get together and celebrate Halloween and eat pizza and play Super NES all night. I'm like, cool, I've never played a Super NES, but that sounds like fun. So before we head over to his place, being immersed in hours upon hours playing Mario Kart and box loads of pizza and candy and soda, filling our minds with so much of a sugar rush, he wanted to take us to a nice little gym called the Pac-Man Arcade here in Pasadena, California. Now keep in mind, this was my very first time experiencing arcades, so the amount of sounds and lights and the air being permeated with cigarette smells, there was this one gym in the far upper corner of the arcade, and it was called Virtuon. And I'd never seen anything like it before. Giant mech robots, player upon player cabinet where you sit down controlling this mechs with 2 analog sticks. I was just like, what is this? And I was immediately hooked on 2 robots, Timjin and Raiden. And I remember going to that arcade every single day until they released the sequel, and that was Virtuon Otatoro Tangram. And I absolutely love that game. So, literally 18 years have passed since I played that game, and granted it's been ported onto one console after another, just recently got ported to the 360, but I've always wanted to create something that really showed my love for this franchise, and like I said before, and I'll say it again, I hope they do a proper reboot, which they have, but it's been receiving mixed reception, but only time will tell. Now enough about memory lane, let's talk about the bads about the kit, and they're very brief. when you install the laser Lotus lasers onto the shoulders tend to sink, so there's definitely a big issue of weight distribution, but that shouldn't be a deciding factor of not buying this kit. Posability, it's actually pretty good. It's not great, but it will be limited when you install the LED lights. Accessories, you get a bazooka and a CD. Is it worth this? Absolutely. And like that, dudes, we are done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to see more, please hit that like and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. And if you guys want to check out what this game's about, there is a recent release PlayStation 4 exclusive virtual on game that came out last year. It is a little bit expensive, but I definitely can tell you right now it is worth it. Granted, if there's plenty of people to play online. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.